Okay, looks like we are live. Good. I think it is. Okay, posted it out to YouTube. Hey, Austin. Bitrate is all right. All right, guys. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm not expecting a lot of people to show up for this one. This is going to be a little bit of a different stream because I'm not going to be actually playing a game. What I'm going to be doing is trying to set a little bit of a streaming schedule. A couple of reasons. One, in about an hour and 20 minutes, I'm going to be going live with the Hawk's Nest over on his channel, so I don't really have time to play much of a game anyway. And two, when I stream before dinner time, most people don't show up. They're busy, they're doing other things, they're not settled down for the night, ready to go watch somebody stream a game. And I'm going to be streaming Zelda tonight, and I don't want to lose viewers because the attendance for those streams has been really incredible, and people want to see me play that game. So I thought that I would take this opportunity to instead kind of take a look at the upcoming games that are getting released this year and see if I can lay out a schedule because all successful video game streamers seem to have schedules. Now, I will never be able to have a firm schedule of like, I am going to be streaming on these days, I'm going to be streaming from this time to that time every day, except for these days and that days. I can never do that. Even when it comes to me as a content creator on the internet, I what I do on Twitch is secondary to what I do on YouTube. First of all, and second of all, even beyond that, I want to maintain freedom to be able to do other things with my life. I don't want to be married to a streaming schedule. Maybe one day if I become massive on Twitch that would change, but I can't establish like a day to day. This is when I go live. This is when I turn the stream off. Stuff. I can't do that. So instead, I thought, well, what can I do? What I can do is try to establish a schedule via calendar to estimate what I'm going to be playing and when. So if you're here for the live stream, great. We'll have conversations about all this. We'll talk about all this. But I don't expect a lot of people to be here, so maybe you're just watching the VOD and you want to get an idea of what's going to be coming this year. So it's January 10th right now. Hey, Gwoosh. Yeah, it's January 10th right now. So I thought it would be fun to go through the rest of the gaming schedule for the year and also talk about the backlog and basically just try to lay it out on the calendar what's going to be coming. So, when it comes to me streaming, I have three lanes that I operate in. They're like swim lanes. If people have worked in computer science fields before, they probably know what a swim lane is. But I have three swim lanes when I stream: PC game, console game, and co-op game. And the co-op game is pretty much always a PC game, but it's a different swim lane. So when it comes to me streaming, I'm typically playing three different games at a time: a PC game single player, console game single player, and PC co op game. So the goal here is to kind of establish what is going to be filling those three lanes at all times. So, like, right now, I am playing a console game, Zelda Breath of the Wild, a PC game, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, and a co op game, Lego Star Wars. So, I'm going to try to estimate what it's going to take for me to get through those games. I'm going to look at the upcoming games list, and I'm going to try to see what's to expect at least over the next 6 months, if not the whole year. So, first of all, I tweeted this out yesterday. Basically, it was a list of games that I would either definitely or consider playing and streaming when it launches. And you take a look at it, there are probably about 10 games I'm going to end up streaming at launch this year. Because some of these are going to get bad reviews, some of them are going to get delayed, some of them are going to end up not really being what I'm looking for, and I'm going to just not play them until later or not play them at all. But the early part of the year is packed, and then the second part of the year is probably not going to be as packed. So we have Fire Emblem Engage, which comes out in 10 days. Dead Space comes out a week later. Hogwarts Legacy comes out 2 weeks after that. Jedi Survivor comes out about 5 weeks after that. And then Resident Evil 4 Remake comes out a week after that. Dead Space is about 5 weeks later. Dead Island 2. And then you have Zelda Tears of the Kingdom coming out, I think, 2 weeks later. And then you have 2 weeks after that, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is made by the Arkham people, so I'm intrigued. And then about 4 weeks later after that, you have Final Fantasy 16. Now, I can say this. I think there's a very decent chance that I don't play Dead Island 2 at launch. It's going to depend heavily on the reviews and my co-op partner's level of interest when it comes out. There's also a chance Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League ends up not being very good. The last Arkham game that came out, Arkham Knights, which I know was made by different people, ended up being a kind of a dud. So it wouldn't shock me at all if I don't have any interest in that. The games that don't have a release date that are supposed to come out this year, I'm definitely going to nail in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's like a guaranteed lock it in. I'll play it at launch. Starfield as well. Spider-Man 2, I don't know because I haven't played Miles Morales yet. And Assassin's Creed Mirage is a big, big maybe for me because the last Assassin's Creed was so disappointing to me. But there are, we have like 9 games. No, we have 13 games on this list. Yes, I did JS, but it was on my old Twitch channel at least 3 or 4 years ago. So nobody was watching me then except for Snacks and I think Santi. Like, I would be lucky to get 3 viewers in a stream. But anyway, so these are the 13 games that I will strongly consider playing at launch. Fire Emblem, I'm already locking in. And I can pretty much lock in Dead Space, Jedi Survivor, Resident Evil 4, and Zelda. Hogwarts Legacy and Dead Island 2 are going to depend on reviews. Same with Suicide Squad. I am going to probably lock in on Final Fantasy 16 unless it just gets murdered by reviewers. So basically, you're probably looking at about 10, maybe 11 games that I end up streaming at launch. And hopefully that helps with the channel. Because the point of this, I am typically not the kind of gamer that likes to stream stuff at launch. I don't feel the need to like rush out, oh, I got to get this game at launch. I got to get this game right when it comes out for $70 and play it before anyone else does. I usually don't do that. I'm just, I try to, temper myself a little bit and I wait for discounts. But I think this is going to help me on Twitch. I think it's going to help get the channel out there. I think it's going to increase interest if I'm playing games that just came out. Oh, JS, we're going to talk about the backlog as well. There's definitely going to be room for backlog stuff here. Okay, so here's the thing. Fire Emblem Engage comes out in 10 days. I am going to go pre-order it tomorrow, I think. I'm basically locking it in. There's no way they're going to mess up a Fire Emblem game. And Nintendo never drops their prices anyway, so I may as well play it at launch. It's going to take literally 4 to 5 years for Nintendo to even consider dropping the price on Fire Emblem Engage. So that's kind of punched in. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Tuesday here. And let's see. I've never used Google Calendar before. I'm just going to be honest here. Um, yeah, we're just going to do all day here. So let's do. That means because Fire Emblem is a console game, I want to be done with Zelda Breath of the Wild by the 19th. So 9 days. Maybe you could stretch it into like 10 if you really wanted to. Because quite frankly, oh, wait a minute. Okay, maybe it'll be better if I do it by month. Yeah, okay, this is better. So basically, the first swim lane, which is console single player game, Breath of the Wild, and then on the 20th, we add Fire Emblem. Let's see here, and that's going to be green as well. Now, how long is Fire Emblem going to take? How long did Three Houses take me? How long does Three Houses take the average player? So let's look up Three Houses on howlongtobeat.com. Main story, 49 hours. I know I spent longer in Fire Emblem Three Houses than 49 hours. I don't have the tally off the top of my head, but I probably spent around 70 or 80 hours. Now, the early word is Emblem is going to be a little bit smaller, and it's probably not going to be as social. So, Three Houses, you're probably looking at, I would say, like 60 hours. And given that, I would estimate. Well, let's take a look at like the full year calendar here real quick. So we're starting on the 20th. Let's maybe we start on the evening of the 19th, but you're looking at for a 60-hour game. That's probably going to be at least what. I'm playing other things at the same time, so you're probably looking at like a month. So I would say that Fire Emblem, let's see, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe the 17th. Let's estimate that. So January 17th is going to be the Fire Emblem window. Now, let's go back to my list. Dead Space, Hogwarts Legacy, and Jedi Survivor, and Resident Evil 4, and Dead Island 2 are all PC games. So I am not going to play any of those games on console. I'm going to be playing them on PC, especially Dead Island 2, because the only way I'll play it is co-op. So the next console game that gets released that I'm planning on playing at launch right now is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not a Zelda super fan, but the Breath of the Wild streams have done so well on my channel. I want to keep, I want to play the next Zelda game, especially if I played at launch. That could make my channel just blow up. Probably not blow up, but it'll definitely get new eyes on the channel. It'll definitely intrigue a lot of people. So that's not until mid-May. So this is where the backlog comes in. So just to give you guys a little example here. So we finished Zelda, we finished Fire Emblem, and then we have basically 3 months before the next big console game comes out for me. Roughly. Again, this is all an estimate. So what we're going to do then is fit in some of the backlog. Like, let's go ahead and punch this in here. Horizon Forbidden West. Okay. Okay, here we go. So Horizon Forbidden West gets fit in here. So let's see how long Forbidden West is according to howlongtobeat.com. Only 29 hours. Now, I'm not going to blow through the main story, I don't think. The side stuff in the original Horizon was good, and I imagine it'll be good in this game. Now, just out of curiosity, what did they say about Zero Dawn? Okay, it was about the same, 30 hours. Well, okay. I guess the original Horizon was about 22 and a half. So they're saying this one's, my bad, this one's a little bit longer. They're saying Forbidden West is a little bit longer. So let's estimate 40 hours, maybe 45 for Forbidden West. That's probably about 3 weeks. So let's go view it by month again. So let's see here, 1 week, 2 weeks. So it would be March 11th. So roughly speaking, the console swim lane gets filled by Horizon until mid to early to mid March. Okay, so at that point, I think we probably pull in another console game because again, Tears of the Kingdom doesn't come out until mid May. So at that point, what am I going to want to do? Let's pencil in Demon Souls. Whatever, I'll just leave it like that. So, Demon Souls. This one's going to be interesting. Now, I'm an experienced From Software player. I know those games are hard. I'm not going to get in there and be like, oh, this game's too hard. I'm going to rage quit it. That's not happening. I will go through the whole game. Um, let's see here. So, Demon Souls 2020, actually, according to How Long to Beat, is shorter than the original Demon Souls. What's up with that? How are you going to remake a game and make it shorter? That's not right. Whatever. Anyway, so let's say 30 hours because I'm not look, I'm pretty good at From Software, but I'm not a super master. So let's say 30 hours. So that's probably 2 weeks. That's probably a 2-week game at that point. Now, one thing to remember, when we get to March, you're going to start seeing NFL free agency stuff. So that's going to take up some time. In fact, let me look up the NFL free agency window. Um, let's see. It looks like it starts actually right around this time. Now, my free agency streams are going to be during the day, and I usually don't game during the day, so it shouldn't affect anything too much. But yeah, let's go 2 weeks for Demon Souls. Let's see here. So yeah, where's the yeah, okay. So Horizon ends here, and then Demon Souls basically takes up the next 2 weeks plus an extra day just in case. This is the part of the year when my YouTube channel starts popping off, so it's not a bad idea to give an extra day here or there. So far we're doing pretty good, and we still have a lot of time before the next big console release. So maybe at this point I would pull in something like Fire Emblem Three Hopes, which is an action game. But maybe I want to do Animal Crossing. Maybe after a game like Demon Souls, I want to chill out with a game like Animal Crossing. So let's pencil that in here real quick. Just, placeholder. And I mean, Animal Crossing is a game you just kind of keep playing, admittedly, right? But what's the new Animal Crossing called? Is it New Horizons? Yeah. The Animal Crossing that came out recently is called New Horizons, right? So it looks like most people end up spending like 100 hours on Animal Crossing, which sounds about right. So that might be like a month for me. I might end up spending about a month in Animal Crossing. I would probably estimate that. It's my first Animal Crossing game as well, so I might get into it. It's possible I play it and I really don't like it. I think that's at least a possibility here, by the way. So, okay. So that gets us to late April. And I think that'll perfectly allow me to slot in. Let's see here. So there are basically two options at this point. I can do Returnal or I can do Three Hopes. Let me look up Returnal. That's actually only a 20-hour game, maybe 30 at most, I guess I would say, because I'm going to do some side stuff, but not all of it. So let's do Returnal. Let's say we slot Returnal into this slot here. Returnal. And then Returnal's going to be, let's give it 2 weeks. Let's give it a little bit more because we can afford it just in case. And then, yeah, so that takes us all the way to May 11th. And that is the launch day for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, how long will Zelda Tears of the Kingdom take? I mean, it's probably going to be more than Breath of the Wild, right? And Breath of the Wild, I mean, that's supposed to be minimum a 50-hour game. I'm probably going to end up spending 60 or 70 hours on it. So we could estimate probably about the same for Breath of the Wild. Now, the only game that I really have like breathing down my neck at this point on console would be Final Fantasy 16. That's going to be a PS5 exclusive. So therefore, Tears of the Kingdom just needs to be done before Final Fantasy 16 comes out. And I think giving the game a little bit of extra time is probably a good idea because it'll have just come out. Nobody's going to have written a walkthrough on it. Therefore, it's good to give a little bit of extra time. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what is the release date? Okay. 6/22. So 6/22. So basically we go all the way up to June 2021. And if it doesn't happen, if it ends up taking like a month instead of 5 weeks, then maybe I try to power through something like maybe I pad things out a little bit by doing like Three Hopes, which could be a fairly short game. In fact, let me check Three Hopes here. Okay, that game's actually probably going to take like 3 weeks, so that may not work, but I think this will actually be okay. It'll give me little bit of margin for error with a game like Demon Souls or Animal Crossing if I end up really liking the game. But at this point, you pull in Final Fantasy 16. That I'm pretty much locking it in unless it gets murdered by reviewers. So we're going to do Final Fantasy 16 here. Now, how long is Final Fantasy 16 going to be? Who knows? Who knows if they're even going to have the game finished by the time it launches? Final Fantasy 15 was famously unfinished when it was released. So let's look at Final Fantasy 15 here real quick. I mean, not that long of a game, but if they actually decide to do a full RPG like the old Final Fantasy games, which apparently they don't really feel motivated to do, you're probably looking at another game like this. That's probably going to be a game that I get through in about 3 weeks, 4 at most. So at that point, 1, 2, 3. And that puts us at the point where you get to mid July and I can just start working through the backlog because, again, the second half of the year is not that interesting on console. The only thing that really jumps out to me is Rebirth. Now, Spider Man 2, I am definitely interested in playing, but maybe this is a situation where I use the time after mid July to play Miles Morales. Some people have told me that Miles Morales is going to take like a weekend. So maybe I just say, okay, I'll get Miles Morales, beat it in a weekend. Although I really don't want to spend full price on a game that's that short. I feel like I'm rewarding the developers for being lazy. So hopefully I can get it cheap by that point. But maybe what's going to happen is after I do Final Fantasy 16, I do Miles Morales. Let's just go ahead and do that as kind of like a earmark. And just say it takes like a weekend because I power through it quickly, which I think is completely reasonable. Some people are saying it's like a 10-hour game. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's believable. So at that point, you get to mid July, and who knows when Spider Man 2 is going to come out? That could come out at literally any time. And probably it's going to be a holiday game, so it's going to be a few months. Same with Rebirth. Honestly, I would expect both those games to probably come out in September, October, something like that. So that gives me time then to go through a game like Lost Judgment and Three Hopes, and maybe Xenoblade Chronicles. Now those are going to be longer playthroughs. So let's just go ahead and estimate what it could be here. So starting here, let's do Lost Judgment. Okay, let's punch in Lost Judgment here. Lost Judgment is supposed to be longer than the first Judgment, but according to How Long to Beat, you can beat it in 23 hours, but there's no way I'm going to actually do that. The first Judgment is, let's see, according to this site, is actually a little bit longer, but I've mostly heard that Lost Judgment's longer. So Lost Judgment's probably going to be, I'd say, going to take me about a month, if I had to guess. So let's, one, two, three, four. And I may be taking a vacation around this time. So that would obviously push things back a little bit, but that extra week kind of gives me a little bit of wiggle room to deal with that. So that's fine. So yeah, Lost Judgment fills it out, gets us all the way to mid-April. And I still don't think Spider-Man or Rebirth will have come out by then. And honestly, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I think there's a really low chance Mirage ends up being so good I want to play it at launch. Valhalla to me was the worst Assassin's Creed game, and I heard a rumor. I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard a rumor that Assassin's Creed was actually going to try to adopt like the Fortnite model, which if that's the case, I really don't have much interest. Not in the gameplay, but in the way the game kind of just goes on endlessly. I have no interest in it then. If that holds, then no thank you. But anyway, so at that point, you're probably looking at Three Hopes, and Three Hopes is probably like a 3 week game, maybe a month, but let's say 3 weeks. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3. And that takes us to September. That could be about the time when you see games like Spider-Man 2 and Rebirth come out. Okay, so that basically establishes the swim lanes all the way through early September in terms of the console path. So that was pretty easy, but obviously we got a long way to go. Okay, so now let's do the co-op lane because that one's going to be easy. Those are games that I play with snacks. For those of you who have been to my Twitch streams previously, you would know that he's the guy I co-op games with. So right now we're doing Lego Star Wars, and this should be pretty easy to figure out here. So we basically stream twice a week. Every time we stream, we finish an episode. Yesterday we did episode 4. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What we're probably going to do is loop back through the game and redo the episodes and try to 100% it, or at the very least come close to 100%ing it. That could take some time. Now we're going to have every character unlocked and we're going to be focusing only on studs and bricks, but it could take some time. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So maybe that ends up taking us all the way through February. Let's just estimate that. I don't know if it actually will, but if we're only streaming twice a week and we're getting one episode done per stream and then we're going back trying to 100% it, you're probably looking at a situation. Oh, I need to change the color of that one actually. Okay, let's do banana. Okay, so Lego Star Wars. That's going to probably take us through all of January and February if we decide to 100% it. At that point, we get to March, and we are still a long way away from the release of Dead Island 2, which is the only co-op game I'm seeing this year that is super interesting. So March 1st, probably It Takes Two. That's the co-op game that a lot of people really loved, but it looks like it's going to be a game that we beat in... I'll be generous and say 4 sessions. So you're probably looking at about, yeah. So if you start at March 1st, 1, 2, 3. So something like this. So it's probably going to be something like that. And yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Now, who knows what happens at this point? Maybe we go back and play other Lego games like Lego Lord of the Rings. I don't want to become like the Lego guy on Twitch or anything, but they're decently fun, they're easy, and they're all, well, most of them anyway, are co-op. But we still would have 6 weeks between that and Dead Island 2. And honestly, most co-op games don't intrigue us that much. Like we didn't really like Borderlands that much. Snacks really didn't like Far Cry 5, so he's not going to want to do Far Cry 6. Um, Dead by Daylight, they made a change to Dead by Daylight recently that has really put us off the game. So I don't know if we're going to be interested in playing that. We do want to do American Truck Simulator, but the problem with American Truck Simulator is that you need a wheel. And right now, my partner does not have a wheel. He has keyboard and mouse. So whenever he gets that, we will probably do that. But that could be a while. Wheels are hard to come by sometimes. So after this, you might just plug in a game like Lego Lord of the Rings or something, and then say, we'll plow through that. Let's see how long Lego LOTR Lord. Uh, yeah, see, that's a much shorter game. So that's something you would probably power through in like a week, maybe a week and a half. So, and we don't even have it. I don't even want to commit to it. I don't know if the game is good. But at this point, this swim lane is kind of open until Dead Island 2. And I'm going to take a short break, guys. So I'll see you guys shortly and we'll finish up this scheduling. Okay, we are back. So, just because we have the window here, I'm going to go ahead and say Lego Star Wars or LOTR, excuse me, not Lego Star Wars, Lego Lord of the Rings all day, and I'm gonna say we get it done by like a week and a half because I think it's a shorter game. I think it's a much shorter game. Um, Now, I don't know what we would do for the next month or so. And one thing to understand about my schedule when it comes to like streaming with my co-op partner is that it fluctuates pretty wildly. So there's no guarantee he's going to be able to stream that much. He might be able to stream more. That's always possible. But Dead Island 2 still doesn't come out until the end of April. So let's assume the game is good. Let's assume the game is good and it comes out and we want to play it. So the first Dead Island, about 20 to 25 hours, it looks like. Now, does that mean anything? Not necessarily, because the game came out so long ago. It's not necessarily going to be reflective of what they decide to do with Dead Island 2, because this game has been delayed 300 times. They made what was it? The devs who made Dead Island made Dying Light 1 and 2, which was like a spiritual successor or something like that. So they might make the game huge. They might make the game same size. Who knows? Let's just say like 5 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that basically takes us through the entire month of May. And at that point, at oh, I wanted to make that yellow. Yeah. And at that point, hopefully, we'll be able to start doing American Truck Simulator. And American Truck Simulator might become like our go-to play for hundreds of hours game because it's chill. It never really ends. So hopefully that's how it goes. But let's play it safe here and say we played for the rest of the month at minimum. And then at that point, I don't know. Because there aren't a lot of co op games that we haven't already played. The ones that we haven't played, we don't have a lot of interest in. And at that point, you might see either just ongoing Truck Simulator or ongoing Dead by Daylight. The one thing that could happen is that they drop new maps on Power Wash. We would definitely do those, but a map in Power Wash would take like one stream, and also we have no way of knowing when the new maps drop. So therefore, I can't really schedule for it if we don't know about that. So I'll just take us through the first half of the year, and the second half of the year we're just going to kind of play it by ear, and we still have that big month and a half, or well, about 5 weeks empty here that we could fill with, I don't know, Lego Jurassic World, Dead by Daylight, the Evil Dead game if the viewer base, I mean the player base actually like picks up. I don't know, but I'm not going to go further than that. Okay, we're going back to January. We're going to do our third and final swim lane here. This is PC gaming. This is where things are going to get tricky. So Crisis Core is where we are right now. I am doing Crisis Core. I'll make it blue. Probably about halfway through the game. I would say if I really wanted to, I could probably have it done by the end of, I'll say next week. Because I'm going to be trying to really go hard for, I'll stretch it out a little bit, just in case. But I'm really going to be trying to go hard to finish Zelda as the primary. So I'm going to say we finish it on Sunday. May finish it earlier, and if we do, that's great. But Crisis Core. Now, the next game that comes out that is really intriguing to me is Dead Space, and that's probably going to be a day one play for me. Now, the thing is, I'm going to have a few days. Now, I have a massive backlog on Steam. It is trivially easy for me to just pull up Steam, find some random game that's going to be about the right length that I need, and just go through it over the course of a few days. And yeah, so what do I do for those few days before the Dead Space remake comes out. Let's just take a look here. I'll pick a game at random that I believe will be of the approximate correct length. Just something that something new, something that might be kind of interesting to watch, but ultimately is going to be like an older game that I don't think is going to really, get people out to the channel. It'll just be kind of a little bit of a time waster. Let's see here. Maybe like a Tomb Raider game. Well, I've been sitting on this game for a long time. It's been in my Steam list for a long time. Yeah, okay. This is exactly the kind of game I'm looking for. VVVVVV. A lot of people are going to be like, what the heck is that? It's an indie platformer that came out forever ago that I've had in my Steam list and just never got to. I think it's a platformer, and the trick is you manipulate gravity. You don't manipulate your character as much. So, okay. That's probably just going to be one, maybe two streams to beat. So that's easy. And then you get to the launch of Dead Space. Now, Dead Space is a remake of a game that came out a long time ago. We can look up Dead Space here, and we can see that the first Dead Space was relatively short. This new one, hopefully they add enough stuff to it to make it a little bit longer. I would say not over the top, because it is a game that is all about the quality over the quantity, and that's fine. But with Dead Space 2023, let's say 15 hours. Okay? That's probably what? A week and a half? Something like that. So let's say it takes us into early February. Now, what's the next big release is actually Hogwarts Legacy on February 10th. So if this takes us into February 6th, that again means you're going to have a little bit of space to fit in something short. And I can definitely find a shorter game, something that I can beat in a few days. Like, I'll just scroll through this list real quick. Let's see if I can find something that stands out as like, oh, I could beat this in like 2 sessions maybe. Let's see here. I'll need to do the forest, dang it, but that's going to be too long. No. What about Dead Rising, the original Dead Rising? Maybe. Maybe. That's like the original Dead Rising's like a 12-hour game. I know it doesn't play very good, but maybe. Let's see if I can do something a little bit better. What about Crisis Wars? Oh, is Crisis Wars like just pure multiplayer? Company of Heroes. Just give me 1 second here, guys. Just got to find something to slide in here. Random games I've been sitting on. Binding of Isaac might actually work. That's not bad. That might actually be okay. That's going to be a shorter, weird game. Maybe I'll play something like super indie, like Breath of Death. Yeah, okay. So maybe I'll fit in like an indie game here. Sometimes people like it when I play the indie game. So let's slot in Breath of Death. That might be 2 sessions. And that's just a weird indie game. Not a lot of people are going to be super compelled by it, but that's okay. I'm a variety streamer, clearly. And then we have Hogwarts Legacy. That comes out this day. Now, I have no idea if the game is going to be good, first of all. I have a pretty good feeling about it, but I have no way of knowing how long it's going to be, right? Choo Choo Charles? I've heard about that one. I've heard about Choo Choo Charles. So let's just say, okay, let's just say it takes about a month to get through Hogwarts Legacy. Iki123, yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out here. Can I fit in Minecraft? Because once I start playing Minecraft, I'm not really going to want to stop, is the problem. So if Hogwarts Legacy is a dud or is shorter, then maybe I fit in Hogwarts, then maybe I do some Minecraft then until the next big release. But assuming that Hogwarts Legacy is good and like at least a 50-hour game, then I'm just going to give it the whole 4 weeks. And at that point, we are very close to Jedi Survivor. So I'm going to have like a week, maybe 2 or 3 sessions to fit in. That could be enough to do something like The Binding of Isaac. That could be enough to do something like Company of Heroes. So let's just. It's kind of a placeholder. I could change this later. But let's just pencil in The Binding of Isaac. We're going to play that for like a week. It'll just be a handful of sessions. Hopefully, we get through it. Which, this is a game I know nothing about other than that it was an indie hit back in the day. So let's just go ahead and. Oh, my bad. My bad. I need to make that the right color or else everyone gets confused. And by everyone, I mean me. Okay, so now things get tricky. We have back-to-back releases, AAA games that I'm really excited for. Jedi Survivor comes out on the 17th. Okay, that's pretty easy. But Resident Evil 4 comes out a week later. So what might have to happen here is I might have to split time between these two games. Like, I play Jedi Survivor really hard for a week, and maybe I beat the game. I looked up Jedi Fallen Order. It took me about 21 hours, maybe 22, to beat Fallen Order. Survivor's probably going to be a little bit longer. I'd say at least 25. Most times when they make a sequel, they go a little bit bigger and better. So I would estimate that Jedi Survivor is probably going to be about 25 hours, maybe 30. So I'm not really going to be able to power through that in a week unless I ignore everything else, which is what I'm trying to avoid. So probably what's going to happen is I do as much as I can of Jedi Survivor, but when Resident Evil 4 comes out, I switch over to it for at least a couple sessions, and then I go back and forth until I finish Jedi Survivor. So that's going to be a little tight, but I think that's probably the best way to go about things because both those games are big, big AAA. Yeah, EA made Fallen Order, although I think they had another smaller one of their companies that they own technically do it. So, right. Okay, now Resident Evil 4. The original Resident Evil 4 is actually a little bit longer than most Resident Evil games. The remake, I don't know. Do they make it shorter because it's going to be a better looking and a better playing game? I have no idea. I could be really safe and say like 20 hours. But here's the thing. If the game is really, really good, I might want to play through it more than once. And for the most part, I would say I wouldn't do that because I'm a streamer. I'm trying to move from one game to the next game. I don't want to get married to one single player game that people are going to get sick of eventually. Resident Evil 4 is a game that usually when I play it, I don't play it once. I play it 2 or 3 or 4 times all the way through before I'm done. But unless that happens, let's just say it's going to be like a 20-hour game that's going to be like 2 weeks. Maybe give it a little bit of maybe give it an extra couple days, like that extra weekend, because I'm going to be playing Jedi Survivor at the same time probably. So that gets us all the way to April. Now, nothing really comes out in April except for Dead Island 2, and that's going to be the co-op game. The next game that really comes out on PC that might be good is Suicide Squad, and that's a maybe for me. I don't know if I'm interested in the Suicide Squad game. So, at that point, the only PC game that would really pique my interest in the second half of 2022 or 2023 is Starfield. Starfield is probably going to be this year's Elden Ring, where it gets hyped out the yin yang. Everybody wants to play it. Everybody goes crazy about it. And as a streamer, if you're not playing it day one, you're kind of missing out because everyone's going to be playing that game at launch. It's going to be just like Elden Ring. Elden Ring actually was the most popular game on Twitch for a little bit there when it first came out. Well, Drop Top, apparently it's the same devs that made the Arkham trilogy, the good ones, like Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum, Arkham Trilogy. I'm sorry, Arkham City. So that gives me some hope that Suicide Squad will be good because they took the devs from the good Arkham games. The Gotham Knights was made by different people, and you can really tell. Starfield will be trash. It's Bethesda. That's kind of the thing, though. If I get it at launch, you know there's going to be the game's going to be unplayable at first because it's Bethesda. But everybody's going to be streaming it, so we'll see. Maybe I'll give it like a day, and if I hear everybody saying, "Oh, the game crashes, the game doesn't run right, you can't get past the first boss, it's glitched, it's bugged," maybe I won't. But that could be like a generational game like Elden Ring was. Speaking of which, okay, we got to April. We got to early April, and there's nothing coming out until the Suicide Squad game, and that's a maybe. So at that point, it's Starfield and then kind of nothing, unless Spider Man 2 gets released on PC, which I don't think it will initially. So what you're going to do, starting in April, this is when I finally get around to playing a game that I've meant to play for a while. People keep asking for it, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. This is kind of the window. Elden Ring. Okay. Now, here's the question. How long is Elden Ring going to take me? It's supposed to be a very long and robust game. Yeah, you could spend well over 100 hours in it. Main story alone is 55 according to How Long to Beat. I'm probably going to spend more than that. I would estimate Elden Ring, let's say it could take me like a month and a half. So that's going to take up a big chunk of time. And let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So that takes us to mid-May. That gives us like a week before the release of this, or excuse me, 2 weeks, well, a week and a half before the release of Suicide Squad. I could play random games, or I could go play Minecraft for a little bit. In fact, maybe I would just go ahead and pencil that in, Minecraft, because people have been asking for it for a while now. So after Elden Ring, and maybe I beat Elden Ring faster than that, who knows? Then I just play Minecraft until something else comes across my desk. And the next thing that could come across my desk would be the Suicide Squad game. How long was Arkham Knight? Let's try to get an idea of how long the Suicide Squad game could be. Yeah, Arkham Knight, 20, 25 hours on average. The Suicide Squad game would probably be similar, so you're probably looking at like 3 weeks. One, two, three. So let's just go ahead and pencil that in for now, even though I don't know if the game's going to be good. And that gets you to mid June. It's similar to the cutoff point that I had for the co op stuff. So maybe at that point I bring back Minecraft if people were liking it, if it was working well, and I'll pencil that in for at least the rest of the month. Just it's kind of a placeholder more than anything, but it gets us to the end of the first half of the year. And at that point, I might just start working through the backlog when it comes to PC games. Games like Borderlands 3, Battlefield games, um, Age of Empires, Total War, Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, Death Stranding. You know what? Actually, I'm going to go ahead and commit to a Death Stranding this year because I think that one's going to be really, really weird. And I've been putting it off for a while now. So I'm going to commit to Death Stranding. And how long is that going to take? That's probably 3 weeks, maybe a month. I'm probably going to be annoyed by at least some of it. So 1, 2, 3. Let's say, let's say it's a month, I guess. And then if I have time left over, then great. So that takes us to basically the end of July. And then at that point, like I said, until Starfield comes out, and if Starfield is good, my schedule's pretty open. So I'm just going to be playing random games, like old Resident Evil games. I got to get through some of the old Resident Evil games, like Resident Evil 0, 7, the 2 remake. Just random stuff that just piques my interest as I scroll through my Steam list, which is still very long. But okay, so that is the schedule. I think we're pretty much done here, guys. Thanks for coming out. This was probably weird for some of you. I know some of this stuff seems like, wow, this guy's really OCD with this stuff. But I just kind of wanted to establish some kind of streaming schedule because I can't do day to day. What I can do is lay out roughly the games I'm going to play. So just to recap everything, right now we're playing the 3 games that you guys know that I'm playing if you're watching my streams regularly: Lego Star Wars, Crisis Core, and Zelda. Zelda is going to be the first game I finish because I need to finish it before the 20th because I'm getting Fire Emblem. Crisis Core I'm going to finish probably a few days later. Maybe I'll beat it over the weekend watching some of the playoff games. Crisis Core is a great game to play when I'm watching something in the background. So I'm probably going to get through Crisis Core, and then we're going to do an indie platformer game. Then Dead Space hits. Lego Star Wars is in it for the long haul because we're going to try to 100% it, I think. So I just basically bookmarked all of February for it. We're going to get through Dead Space, do another indie game, and then we're going to do Hogwarts Legacy. After Fire Emblem's done, we're going to move on to Horizon Forbidden West. That's probably going to take us into mid-March, mid-ish March, and then we go to Demon Souls. We're going to do It Takes Two with snacks at some point. People are going to be excited for that. We're going to do another indie game. We're going to do Jedi Survivor, Resident Evil 4. So it's going to be a really fun next few months. But I just kind of wanted to lay this all out there in an organized and sensible way to give people an idea of what's coming on this channel. Because I think that, like I said, all successful Twitch streamers have a schedule. And this is the best I can do in terms of a schedule. I can't schedule like I'm going to go live this exact time. I can only schedule what I'm going to be playing. And now I've committed to a bunch of stuff. Hopefully I'm able to deliver on it. If any of these games ends up being a lot longer than I expected, then that changes things, obviously. Hopefully everybody can understand that. But this is what we're looking at. So just starting with January, it's going to be Zelda and Fire Emblem, Crisis Core, VVVVVV, Dead Space, and Lego Star Wars. And hope you guys are intrigued by all that. I will be back later tonight to do Zelda. Again, like I said, that's going to be the top priority for most streams because I'm trying to beat that before Fire Emblem comes out. And yeah, everything makes sense. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will upload this video on the YouTube side, and I'll probably like post this schedule somewhere as well. Thanks for coming out. See you guys tonight after the stream with the Hawk's Nest. I'm going to do Zelda for at least a couple hours. Hope to see y'all there. The Zelda streams have been going really well, so good turnout for those. Hopefully I get to talk to y'all later. Peace out.